Denver Broncos Mile High View, no commercials, no bullshit. So I was wondering if, looking at the last couple of games, if Scangarello actually had it right. And there was where the feud began, as John Elway saying, well, you're not utilizing wide receivers. And Scangarello saying, well, we don't have any way to block. So we have to work on our blocking scheme. So that's why I'm keeping a fullback. That's why I'm using tight ends. Because I went back and I looked at the blocking schemes for Locke under Scangarello, and they're pretty much now a little bit more identical to what Shurmur's incorporated. And looking at Buffalo play Kansas City, their offensive line looked about as anemic as ours was in those first few weeks. Very similar. Allen not really having much time getting, defenders hitting gaps frequently. What I was watching, I didn't see their first scores, and I caught it at about the 10-13. So I got to wondering that, finally, if Dove Valley's finally realized that they have to put a lot more into their blocking game plan. The Sports Talk Radio is still trying to defend Gordon, he'll be there blocking. Well, I haven't seen it. Yet. So we should see some blitz packages, I think, from Kansas City. But one thing Locke brought up, and I think it's a good point, is because they're a downtown team, they're now I wanted to talk a little bit about Locke real quick to you about. I actually went back and I appreciate Locke more after watching the film than I had, and what he was saying about they have to respect that we're going to go downtown on them. They can't ever not think about that. So being blitz happy with Locke could prove to be a bad thing too, to an opposing defense, barring our receivers can step up. I also wanted to say that in further review of the second interception, I totally could see where that was a doable throw and catch, whether he just slightly overthrew it or if he got hit at the same time. But therein lies the rub, where once you get into those lower percentage passes, which are further downfield, risk, if it's off just a little bit, but give their defender, who Patriot fans say actually is their best receiver because he's such a good, he catches the ball very well. That DB did made a hell of a play on that ball. That was a hell of a play. But that was a doable throw and catch. Even that coverage was definitely doable for somebody like Locke, which gave me actually a better appreciation of him. And the fact that it didn't really faze him. Yeah, I threw it, but we'll throw it again. That's actually pretty good. And I do believe that the team is warm to his and a recipient to his confidence. And that's something we haven't seen since Peyton Manning's been here. Bortles has been brought back, why I don't know. I guess for a quarterback controversy, I don't know. Well, I wanted to call and get some stuff off my chest about, what I saw, and game could have went a whole lot, just a little this much. Guy catches 2 touchdown passes. Locke, hits the needle in the thread there, and now we're down. Then they can just run out the clock or run it or whatever, I guess would probably be the. Also, we'll talk about Kansas City running the football, which, they should, really. So this idea of running isn't just, what we're saying. Andy Reid has been adamant about it, and it looks like, they were very successful with that. They also have a makeshift offensive line to some degree and still aren't skipping a beat in pass protection. I think that's something Bronco fans should take note with coming draft or free agency, maybe increase the depth in the offensive and defensive lines. So I just wanted to put that out. What do you have?
I'm gonna go off of what you have said before. We bring quality and we bring truth to this channel. Well, you do, and
Well, you do. I mean, you were absolutely right about the second pick. I mean, I definitely your insights are greatly appreciated.
thank you. Sorry, yours. But like we have continued to say, like, we're not getting paid to do this. We go back and watch the film, and I go back and watch the details of what I saw, and sports talk radio is very they're wasting my time. I am sick and tired of them trying to defend Gordon, because at the end of the day, Philip Lindsay is he's the man right now. And I don't want to go too much into this, but if you guys are gonna stick with that product, you know, great to you, and hope future endeavors. But you guys are gonna be sold a load of crap, and like I continue to say, I was never high on the Gordon signing. I said it yesterday. You weren't either. I didn't see anything from his time in San Diego / LA that I saw that was warrant of giving him top 10 running back money. So at the end of the day,
did the Chargers. They didn't think so either.
Yeah, exactly. And this is just a continuation of things that will be coming with John Elway, and we're just going to have to learn to accept that. I don't think he'll change anytime soon, but that's another subject for another day. We've already talked about that. I'm going to go off of what you said about Drew Lock. I've said this from the beginning when he came out of college. I said he has the charisma and he has the fortitude and the mindset to understand his mistakes and understand his weaknesses and go back the next week and the next week and continue to work on his mistakes. I've stuck by that set from day one. I've seen him from his freshman year all the way to his senior year in college. He was right in my backyard. I lived in Nebraska. He was in Missouri. So I got to see a lot of Missouri games. So I got to see firsthand what type of talent and what type of character he is. And what you just said, that's a mark of a really good quarterback in the NFL, because he understands his mistakes. And the one thing I love about Drew Lock, and I'm going to continue to harp on this, the confidence. Mm-hmm. Nothing ever phases him. Nothing ever gets him down. Unlike Paxton Lynch, when he rolled his ankle, he knew he lost his job and he was hurt. Oh, ankle. I'm just saying. I'm done. Drew Lock doesn't have that mindset. And when he threw that first pick, he knew what he did was wrong. That's why when I watch a football game, I watch players' reactions to stupid penalties, to dumb penalties, or dumb throws, or whatever. And I see the character. Those are what you need on a football team. Are they going to crumble under that pressure when they make a mistake, a.k.a. Garrett Bowles? Or are they going to thrive off of that and understand their weaknesses and go back the next day in the film room and on the practice field and fix up those little mistakes? And that's what I see from Drew Lock. I thank you for bringing up that point, because in my opinion, he can make those throws. That second throw, if he had
the second pick.
Yep, sorry. The second pick, if he had a little bit more time and that free rusher didn't come and hit him, I believe he would have hit Tim Patrick in a beautiful, beautiful ball.
It was a microsecond. It was definitely a microsecond.
Yep.
Yeah, he obviously could make that throw. That throw was pretty much where it needed to be. It just got away slightly on him, and with the remarkable catch by the DB. I mean, that was really from their point of view, that really was, just from a defensive standpoint, it was a thing of beauty, to be honest with you. And how he got that.
And like me and you both said, and I was harping on that, New England Patriots have a really good secondary. They're no joke. They have a really, really good secondary. That's why they took away the vertical game, like you mentioned, and I didn't mention it because I was too busy worrying about the offensive side of the football. I wasn't worried about that, but I forgot to bring. That was a really good point you brought up yesterday. I didn't even think about that.
Well, I want to bring up one other point is that I really appreciated today, but even during the game, that Locke was not afraid to go after Gilbert. That Bronco fans should embrace that mentality too, and maybe even give Shurmur some credit for that too. I know, but to attack Gilbert with and he wasn't afraid to go after their top DB, and I'm sure he respects the DB without. But the fact, like you said, he's not afraid, and it's just I don't want to hear that excuse from Bronco fans because he isn't afraid.
Nope.
So I would like to see him develop. I would like to see him given a chance. I get so sick and tired. Oh, by the way, you know that a lot. Do you remember all the fans that were clamoring for that quarterback out in Minnesota called Cousins?
Yeah.
Remember they were all clamoring for him.
Yeah.
I think it's the same group that clamor for these quarterbacks and end up wanting to bury as soon as they get them, bury them. How dare we didn't get Cousins? I said you're best. You were best not to get him. And I would say that Drew Lock is definitely, 2 or 3 steps above somebody like Cousins.
Well, if you watch the Minnesota games, he looks awful. And he's running the Gary Kubiak system, I believe, and he's offense coordinator. So
I don't even think he's really a play action type of quarterback. I think he was always more of a pocket quarterback.
And Mike Shanahan knew that when he was in Washington. That's how he utilized him in Washington.
Yeah.
But I'm going to continue to harp on this, and I've been the biggest Drew Lock supporter since he came out, and we haven't, like you said, we haven't had this much confidence in a quarterback since Peyton Manning
because the ability to make the throws
with the ability, but he's not afraid.
Without a big Cutler head.
Yes, and that was a lot of people were comparing him to Jay Cutler. I'm like, he's not Jay Cutler because he has the confidence to make all the throws in the world, and he has the confidence, and he involves his teammates. And the one thing that people lost in the draft, his
teammates actually like him.
Yeah, that's what I was about
to say. He's
not
dividing the locker room.
Exactly. That's exactly you nailed it right on the head. Like when I was watching the tape when he was coming out of college, you see that the players galvanized around him, and they like you said, that confidence, that swagger. Like that, you have to have that mindset when playing in the NFL. You can't make one mistake and crumble under the pressure, aka, like I said, Garrett Bowles. So, like I said, I thank you for bringing that up because that, from your point of view, I'm happy that not just me, but other Bronco fans like yourself are understanding what Drew Lock can do and his ability to galvanize a team around him. Because you saw it when you saw Brett Rippon and Jeff Driscoll in, you didn't see really any fire on this team. But when they found out that Drew Lock was coming back, you see the difference. And that's where I'm coming from a Drew Lock standpoint.
Well, you remember, if you've been following me, you should know I didn't want Drew Lock at all. I didn't want him. I'm like, oh, man, Elway did it again. But then Lock spoke, and the things that he said, were logical. They made sense. And it's like, oh, he would say, like, I have a lot to learn. He would say, I've got to study. I got to do this. I got to do this. I want to go and learn from this. I'm really excited about finding out how to do this. I'm not really ready right now. And, he really said, I do need to sit down and I need to revamp some things. And I just was blown away because it is so hard and rare for even any player to say, that especially a quarterback, and he wasn't shy to say that. So I thought, well, okay, the guy doesn't have a Cutler head. He's actually sounds like he's got a brain in his head. So maybe what this guy does actually need and should be given, since we have him and he's got the ability, is to give him that opportunity. So for that.
Yes, exactly. And I agree with you 100% with that.
And if he proves me wrong, that'd be great. But believe me, that would be the most wonderful thing ever.
And like the one thing I really love about Drew Lock, and I'm going to continue to say this, is at the end of the season when he was on Broncos TV, the mainstream media,
Yeah.
um, what really brought my attention towards him even more and more is he's like, well, I'm going to talk to Peyton Manning in the offseason. I'm going to talk to John Elway now, picking their brains from Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Yes.
And especially taking the time. He spent an hour on the phone with Peyton Manning. Like, that should show you dedication from an organizational standpoint. That should show you, hey, this kid wants it. This kid wants to succeed in the NFL. This kid wants to be one of the top quarterbacks in the National Football League. You'll go around the landscape of the National Football League. There's very few quarterbacks that come out and be like, oh, yeah, I got to fix this. I got to do better with this. I got to study, like you said. That's very, very rare from a quarterback's from the landscape of the NFL, all 32 teams in the National Football League.
Yes.
So.
Well, I guess I got to give John Elway credit for picking him up. If he now it's just can he stick to him and not get like he did Paxton Lynch, give him an opportunity. Give him the opportunity. He did pick up the receivers, but I think what they need to do is they need to pick up some core players, support players, put the foundation underneath. So that, if you do lose an offensive lineman, you can plug some guy in. If you lose a defensive, you can get some pass rush still. You may have to go beyond Von Miller because that relationship is probably gone.
That bridge is probably burned.
Yep. Yeah. So, but again, that's later on down the road, I guess, when we get in the off season to discuss all that stuff. Right now, it's just about reps. I don't care about playoffs so much.
Yeah.
If they're competitive with Kansas City, they most certainly, any team can be beat on Sunday. So, I mean, they're not unbeatable, but as long as the Broncos, have a chance to win it at the end, are in it to the end, or being competitive, I can't complain considering the state of the team right now.
I do have a question for you. What do you think? How would you go about defending Patrick Mahomes? Because that's a debate that everybody's talking about, and I have my type of way of doing it, but I want to hear your way of how you would go about defending Patrick Mahomes in this Kansas City offense.
Well, I think that you mix it up a bit, keep him a little bit off balance. But when I think of Patrick Mahomes, I'm thinking about the running game now.
Okay.
Like any quarterback, he's no different. I know he's God. David Carr beat God. Is that David Carr in Oakland there or in
Derek Carr? Derek
Carr. Thank you. I think it's getting confused with somebody I know. Yeah, Derek Carr. This everybody said was a wash. Oh, you don't bring him here. He beat God. He beat God. So look at the Raiders. What the Raiders did, they had a spy on occasion. They rotated a spy on him to keep him from running.
Yeah.
You got to stop the running game. You got to put no matter who the quarterback is. Unless they've already conceded the run like New England had for a long time. They want to run the ball. They don't want to keep putting it on his shoulders all the time. Probably play man, just similar to what they did with New England. They probably don't want to. You definitely don't want to be blitz happy. You don't want to get blitz happy with him. That's for sure. But you don't want to ignore the blitz completely. Every now and then you should give him a surprise little extra rusher, or two coming in, and at the right time. Fangio is a good. It's again, we go back to Fangio, the coach everybody wants to fire. If anybody can at least put a game plan on Mahomes, it would be Fangio. But I would say man coverage. I would say blitz on occasion. Definitely rotate a spy, so he can't run out. Even though I don't think Mahomes really is. I think he's liking less and less to run than he used to. He does it a lot still, but I don't think it's something he really likes to do. He only does. Seems what I see. He only does it when he actually has to. there's no design to have him run.
It's not
like
it's not like Lamar Jackson in Baltimore.
no, nothing like that at all. That's
Yeah.
that's an entirely different system anyway.
Yeah.
Different type of quarterback. Yeah. So, man up, make sure that, how do you cover Tyreek Hill? And then, Ojima, God, now I could say his name, but now listen to Sports Talk Radio and they kept playing the incorrect Ojamudia. He'll probably get picked on.
Yes.
They have a rookie receiver now who's fast, kind of like Tyreek Hill type.
Mikael Hardman.
Yeah, maybe that's the matchup you're going to see, rookie on rookie.
Yes.
With some token throws to Kelsey as they always do, and maybe Hill playing a decoy, trying to double up, get a defender high, and then on a man coverage kind of situation. So they're going to have to make Mahomes be deadly accurate. Make him be accurate. He does throw errant throws too. He's not immune to that. He's not God as everybody thinks. But yeah, it's got to be stop the run first.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing. Put it on his shoulders, Mahomes' shoulders. Make him have to thread each needle. Make sure the coverage is good, because if you even have a couple steps, he'll see that immediately. And he's good at, Mahomes is good at throwing to receivers in stride on, I'd say mid passes. But I got so used to seeing Tyreek Hill just waving his hands like he was like catching a punt. And I was always like, is anybody covering this guy? Tyreek Hill, I'm open.
Mm-hmm.
Mahomes throwing a ball to him like he just punted or something. It's just ridiculous. So tight coverage, make him have to thread the needle each time.
I would kind of formulate my defense of what New England did. That's how I would go about it. But the problem I have is I don't think that we have as good a secondary as New England does. I'm high on Ojamudia, but he's a rookie. Bryce Callahan, he's more of a slot guy. And Devontae Bosby had some moments in the game, but he's not being consistent. I am a Devontae Bosby fan, but he let up some plays against New England where it was kind of concerning that I didn't bring up yesterday when I went back to look at the film. He was out of position a lot in that game. And then Justin Simmons and Kareem Jackson, like I've said before, Tyreek Hill has been the Broncos' kryptonite the past few years, and it has shown.
He's been a lot of teams' kryptonite.
Yes, for
but
sure. Travis,
him really as decoying lately. But you're right. I don't think Mahomes has to. It's a little different than it was with Cam Newton.
yep.
The fact is that the Broncos could bum rush Cam Newton. That's going to be a lot more difficult. They're going to have to be tight in coverage. And like you said, if you look at the film, it was sloppy coverage. It was just good. They got to Cam Newton. That's really was the difference maker. There were plenty of receivers open.
Yes.
That is very troubling. By matter of fact, you didn't hear Sports Talk Radio or anybody talk about that, how open receivers are.
No, I don't know if our front seven is going to be able to get to Patrick Mahomes in this game, because the Patriots' offensive line was injury riddled.
Yep.
Yep. But the Kansas City's, they still have one of the best right tackles in football, Mitchell Schwartz, Eric Fisher, who's been there from the very beginning, and they have an okay interior offensive line. Sorry. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see the push up front from the defensive line for the Broncos in this next game. And then you have James Marilat for 104.3 The Fan saying this will show us who the Broncos really are. I'm like, You guys don't know what the Broncos are at this point of the season.
Yeah.
You guys got to be really stupid.
Yes, I think our DBs, our secondary is going to get exposed.
Oh, they will.
You can't blitz because that you can't do it. But you have to mix it in a little bit. But um, uh, we did see the Patriot receivers were open quite a bit.
Yes.
So, and that's all he needs, you know.
I think they're going to pick apart the middle of this defense, a.k.a. Alexander Johnson and Josie Jewell, who everybody's talking about how they've gotten better in coverage. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. I'm sorry, but I think Travis Kelce's going to have a field day, and I don't. I honestly, what I believe, I think we'll be able
Travis
to stop.
Kelce, yes, will have a field day. Yes, if I was Andy Reid, I'd go after the linebacking. That was one. I'd also run, although I do probably realize that the Broncos are probably going to be better at run stopping than Buffalo was.
That's what was going to be my next point, was saying, like, I think we'll be able to stop the run a little bit better than Buffalo did tonight, just because I think we have the size in the middle with Mike Purcell, Williams, Harris, and then we can just rotate that defensive line. I think that we have the size to contain those A and B gaps, unlike the likes of Buffalo. But Buffalo is more of that pass rush mentality instead of the run. That's why they haven't been good stopping the run this year. They're more that pass rush, get to the quarterback, defensive line mentality. I think what we need to do is contain the middle when we face Kansas City. What I mean by that is we need to stop the run. We need to plug the A and B gaps, because Clyde Edwards-Helaire is an absolute stud out of LSU. And then you brought in Le'Veon Bell, who's a nutcase, but him in the Andy Reid system can do a lot of things.
Did they bring him in?
Yeah.
Well, then, shame on them.
Yeah.
Shame on them. That's all I can say. Why did they need him for? I mean, that's made as much, doesn't make any sense either. That's almost like an Elway move.
Probably. But he played for the worst organization in football in the Jets. I mean, come on. Like,
well, but Le'Veon Bell is Le'Veon Bell. I mean,
but people don't remember Le'Veon Bell wasn't the one that made those great running plays. It was that offensive line in Pittsburgh that everybody likes to forget, under the tutelage of Mike Munchak, because they had to. Yes.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I'm going to continue to harp on this. I didn't mention it yesterday because it was a gut reaction from what I saw in the game, but I went back and watched the film. Our corners are going to be exposed in this game. We don't, and like the Raiders, we need to copy what the Raiders did. The Raiders actually have stud linebackers who can cover. The likes of Corey Littleton. Exactly, the likes of Corey Littleton, who you wanted.
I wanted to bring him to Denver, yeah.
But we had to stick with Alexander Johnson, the dinosaur, and we had to stick with Josie Jewell, the outlaw, who they're good, solid backups, but I don't trust them.
They're just backups, yeah. So they'll be exposed by Kelce for sure. That's going to be a reoccurring theme. And I was watching somebody break down the Broncos-Patriots game, and they did bring up the fact that Patriot receivers were open, but they were congratulating the Broncos for getting to Cam Newton as quickly as they did. That interrupted his timing.
Yes.
That's what they said. What was really the factor was how they got to him. Won't be able to utilize that as frequently by any stretch. I would say try it so that you don't become vanilla on defense. And but guys may be so wide open, and their offensive line is going to be an upgrade to what they were playing against New England. Even the Jets was a bit of an upgrade too compared to New England because they're so battered up.
Yes.
I mean, it is battered up, and they are really battered up. And as battered up as they are, I'm actually pretty impressed how still serviceable, at least they were, how serviceable they were compared to what our starters had to go through just to get to this point. Does that make any sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. But once their offensive line gets off the COVID thing and off the injury thing, I mean, their system, it'll be night and day
Yes.
from what we saw.
I want to go to the offensive side.
Score points.
Yes, you can't score 18 points in this game, ladies and gentlemen. You can't do that. Okay, we have to get in the end zone. And if I'm Pat Shurmur in this game, oh man, you got Chris Jones in the middle, you got Frank Clark. I would still try and run the football in this game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I would still run because it is hard because I love Chris Jones. I wanted him in free agency, but the Chiefs got him. I wanted Chris Jones, but I think you still run the football in this game. I think that you still feed the ball to Lindsey. Gordon's not going to be back anytime soon. He's going to get suspended probably this week or sometime next week or something. It's going to happen. So I think you formulate a game plan like you did against New England. If Noah Fant's back, and I'm actually going to agree with a lot of people. Noah Fant, Albert. Oh, I'm not going to say that last name.
Alberto.
Yeah, Alberto. Those two together, I think that's a very dangerous threat for defenses, and I think you have to respect that. I don't think exactly. So and then hopefully KJ Hamler's back in that game, and you got to get Tim Patrick involved like you did in this game. Still take shots. I don't think the Chiefs secondary. I don't think the Chiefs secondary is as good as New England. So I think you can get away with some plays that you couldn't against the New England Patriots.
Yes. So I think that was the idea going into New England, was probably to gear up for Kansas City, going downtown on them because they know they've got to score. And probably if we were to bet, if we knew how they really felt, they probably know that our secondary can't really handle their passing attack.
Nope.
So unless they're really on their game, they're having, every dog has his day, right?
Yes.
Unless they're having that, but they got rid of all the dogs. So, unless, so, they catch lightning in a bottle and everybody's, locked tight and making it very difficult for Patrick Mahomes, then it's going to be like the Raiders. They're going to score 30-some points, and we'd have to score 40.
And if we come out sluggish and and if Pat Shurmur comes out like he did at the end of the Patriots game, look out, ladies and gentlemen. They might put a 50 burger on us. But I don't see that happening in a Vic Fangio defense. I think Vic Fangio is disciplined enough to understand what he has to do against Patrick Mahomes, but he just doesn't have the players to utilize his defense against players like Patrick Mahomes and the Andy Reid system. People like to talk about that we have this great defense, and we don't. These players are average at best.
Well, there is one wild card too, is that Chubb has a good game, and maybe if they're trying to take care of Chubb, that somebody else gets in, and we get a turnover, something like this, kind of if the line can pick up and be a little bit disruptive, just a little bit, maybe that's just what they need. I think personally that if a team really can beat up any quarterback, whether it's Patrick Mahomes, Brady, if you can really pound the crap out of them, I'd like to see, Patrick Mahomes, because he's always had like Brady's always had a good line. He hasn't, had to do what Driscoll went through with everybody coming through and, just right when the ball snapped.
Yeah.
I just like to see him get the crap beat out of him to see how he really responds to something like that. So maybe a little bit of pressure. Maybe it's more now again on the line. They're the not so good defensive line to go in and at least try to be a little bit disruptive. Again, have a spy to make sure that's what the Raiders did.
And I think that you'll see a Drew Lock where he's still going to take chances down the field. That's just who he is. Okay, you can't. Drew Lock's a gunslinger, and I don't want him to become this game manager. I want him to take risks. Okay.
Yes,
I'm
but be
sick
smart.
and tired of that
Be
notion
smart.
where yeah, sorry.
Yeah, be smart with it. I mean, like I said, I looked at that last. The play call probably wasn't the smartest because they didn't really necessarily have to go for a low percentage, a lower. They had a higher percentage because Judy was open.
Yes.
That would have been a minimum of 10 minimum of 12 yards, minimum. But that pass is just, again, it's just a fraction of a second. I mean, it's just a fraction. It was so close. So I think maybe even off the fingertips of the receiver too. So that's just a hairline fracture, right where it's supposed to be. And we're talking something else. And he needs those reps and that confidence to do those. But it wasn't that, looking at it, it wasn't all that unreasonable of a throw and catch for him, for somebody with his ability.
Yes. And you brought up a great point where Judy was open. That's one of the issues I'm having with Locke. He's still reading one side of the field, like I brought up yesterday. And that's just.
Well, I think that play was going there all the way. Yeah. Well, he was locked in there, and maybe, because he isn't going to have that much time. He's got to concentrate to get that, I can understand that play was going there that whole way.
Exactly. But like I said, I watched that game again and from a different standpoint, and there were receivers open on some plays where he missed. But that's just going to come with reps and studying the tape and all that. So you can't. I still have this fear where, and they were Bronco fans were still on his butt last night when I was listening to Sports Talk Radio, and they were, Sports Talk Radio was just hounding the crap out of Locke for those 2 picks. I get it from a standpoint where it's after the game, you didn't review the tape, but even today when I listened, they were still hounding him. They were still getting on his ass. Well, dude, you got to be kidding me. This kid has what? Like 6, 7 starts and 8. What is it?
Yeah, you just haven't had enough time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good point. You can get after, if he doesn't start, like you say, catching on to this stuff, then we may have a problem.
Yes.
Okay. But he's been interrupted, and they got to pass protect for him. Number one, they got to make sure that next week is going to be against the Chiefs. Pass protection is going to be the key to everything. If they screw that up, the pass protection, it looks like Pittsburgh. It looks like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If it looks like that again,
first half of Pittsburgh.
If it looks like that again, then how can we develop any quarterback? All these people that want to go to college and get a college quarterback. How can you develop any quarterback if you can't pass protect? So I'll go back to how I opened this up with did they learn their lesson that maybe their other offensive coordinator had it right, that the pass protection was a problem, letting in free runners and this kind of thing. They cannot let free runners in this Kansas City game. And that's what I saw at Buffalo. They were letting all kinds of free run. They were doing exactly what Pittsburgh was doing and Tampa Bay was doing. They were doing that to Buffalo. They were hitting the AB gaps with their linebackers.
Yes.
And that was disrupting the, how can that guy in Buffalo,
Josh Allen, how
can that guy develop? All right. How can he develop if you got free runners coming at him? How can you ask him to do his job?
Yes.
You can't do that. And Mahomes, and he's able to kind of do Mahomes, but Mahomes didn't have to worry about it every single play. They were in some pressure as expected, but it wasn't ridiculous.
And I'm tired of this notion of how people are just so scared to go against Patrick Mahomes. I'm not. Well, he's got. Well, he I know the reason I asked you about how we should beat him is because I believe there's a formula out there, and it's Bill Belichick. He knows how to beat Patrick Mahomes. I believe you need to take what Bill Belichick did and apply that to this defense. And I think Vic Fangio is going to do that in this game. But like I've said, we don't have the secondary. We don't have even the linebackers.
No.
To contain that. So,
that's the reality of the Denver Broncos. They play, these marquee receivers, these marquee tight ends.
Yep.
It's going to show. I mean, if they played San Francisco, personally, I think if they played San Francisco with their fully healthy San Francisco team, they'd run into the same problem.
And like I said, if I think we're going to lose this game. I don't see us winning this game. I came in and we're going to lose this game because we don't have the player personnel to go against these type of teams. We don't have that. We have the player personnel to go against the Jets and the Chargers, the whatever you could say. But like I've said before, going back to the Chiefs, we don't have the player personnel, and we don't have. I still think this team is afraid to play against Kansas City. I think they are afraid of Kansas City because they haven't beaten them since 2015.
They've given up.
Week 2 in 2015 under the tutelage of, who was it? Peyton frickin' Manning.
Yeah, and wasn't it like a defensive play that ended up winning? It wasn't a scoop.
Yeah, but it was Peyton Manning who told Gary Kubiak, we got to stop running the stupid offense that you're running. Let's incorporate my offense, the shotgun offense. Oh.
So would you like to see more shotgun with?
Yes.
Yes. Would like to see more shotgun.
Yes.
Okay, I'll title this video, we'd like to see more shotgun going into Kansas City.
You saw it in the Patriot game. Everybody saw it in the Patriot game. Drew Lock has more success when he's in the shotgun. I encourage people, and I encourage you as well. Go back to the tape when he was in his sophomore and junior year, especially his junior year, where he had his best season in his college career. He was playing mostly in the shotgun.
Well, maybe a team like Kansas City. This is a team you want to probably incorporate him in the shotgun.
Yes.
At least 85% of the time. But I think if you want to talk about his development further down the road,
okay,
you probably want to play other teams where you put him in under center more, so he gets more accustomed to doing that. I don't think you want to. Peyton Manning, he painted himself into that. I think Drew Lock could do more because I believe he's more versatile than Manning, personally. Yep. He could do more, and he could do more in that formation. You know what I mean? He could bootleg more. Yes. I mean, he could do a lot of different things. So I don't want to see him just become one-dimensional in that.
Okay.
Yeah. But like you're saying, he needs reps regardless, and he needs confidence. He needs to keep building on his confidence. And I agree. I think doing what he's accustomed to when you go and play this team, put the best Drew Lock out there.
Yes.
But I do have disclaimers about making this a permanent thing. But and like we always do, we do these things week by week, case by case.
Exactly, and I agree with you 100% with that. I'm not saying, you need to keep him shotgun. I'm coming from the standpoint when I want to see the best Drew Lock there on a weekly basis. And I understand for his development and his trajectory, I agree with you 100%. But do you believe in this organization to do that? I haven't seen any signs of that. So that's where I'm saying, I have to hold off my judgment on that because if Pat Shurmur, like I've said, are they going to continue to run Pat Shurmur out of town, run Mike Munchak into town? If you're going to stick what you're saying, if you're going to stick with that mindset and in that trajectory, you can't fire Pat Shurmur at the end of the year. You can't. You can't. If you do
Because
that, that's
yeah, exactly. Because you're upsetting the whole process of
you're
development.
stunting the growth of Drew Lock.
I have a confession to make, and I meant to this off season. Was going to break down all the Giants' offensive footage, and I didn't do it. But apparently there also was headbutting going on in Giants country about how the offense was to be run. So how much of that was Shurmur, how much of it was the GM, how much was do this, do that. Everybody had like all the cooks in the kitchen.
Yep.
And the Giants are still a mess.
They are.
Not saying that the Broncos aren't, but they're I don't know what's happened to that organization, but they haven't been on track for a long time.
Since Coughlin left.
Yeah, about that. Well, since the downfall of Coughlin, probably.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah. So more Drew Lock. And going downtown. They're going to have to. Hopefully, fans will be back. That could be a difference maker.
Yeah.
They probably will keep that quiet, but they'll probably game plan for him.
Yes.
Gordon most likely will be, shipped off. But who knows? Who knows? I mean, that's pretty bad when you get behind a wheel drunk and in an age of Uber.
You're making millions of dollars. You're making top 10 running back money, and you do something that stupid instead of calling an Uber or taxi. But I don't understand this mindset of these players sometimes.
No, it makes no sense. And they just, like I said in a video, I said they just had a woman get hit by the same situation. Somebody got drunk, went on the highway wrong. At night, it was 6 o'clock in the morning, but dark. I'm sure they didn't have their headlights on. They're flying down the road.
Drunk as hell.
Yeah, so I just don't understand the NFL can tolerate that, but if a guy takes a vitamin, he needs to be suspended, so.
And I had Broncos country. Have you seen the trend of John Elway players that have come in and done stupid shit like that? Like, come on, people. Like, see, this is why you bring quality and realism. That's what we do on this channel.
But you gotta watch what you say because they'll come after you because Drew Lock.
I don't care.
Drew Lock is an Elway player.
I was high on Drew Lock before Elway started looking at him. So I've been on that train for a while now.
Do you think Lock is a Fangio? Was a Fangio?
Yes.
You don't think Elway?
No, I think that was a Fangio. I think that was a Fangio because of the. At first, it came across like it was an Elway, but then you started to see the. I think Vic Fangio loves Drew Lock because he brings that swagger. And not a lot of people like to talk about Vic Fangio, but if you look at the victory speeches at the end of the game, that dude is riled up. And I think there's more stuff behind the scenes, behind Dove Valley, that people like to talk about when it comes to Vic Fangio. I think Vic Fangio is more of a player's coach than he is a dictator that everybody likes to paint him out to be. I think that was bullcrap from day one.
Do you think that if Fangio is the only thing really, the glue that keeps not only the team together, but that buffer, that firewall of Elway and the players?
Yes. And how they were spinning about how Vic Fangio and John Elway get along. I think they get along to a point, but John Elway is Al Davis. He doesn't give a crap what other people think because of his damn ego.
And meddling.
Ego.
Yes.
Okay. So I think Vic Fangio, like you said, is the wall that is holding back what Elway's trying to push down on him, and that is Melvin Gordon, Juwan James, all these players that are not Vic Fangio players.
Sports Talk Radio actually said, yeah, when You bring up Juwan James, it really does unnerve Fangio.
It does. He doesn't like Juwan. Like, come on. Oh, Vic Fangio signed off on that. That's a bunch of bull crap because he hates Juwan James. Because he doesn't want players that are in the hot tub, not giving
Tough time machine.
Yes, not
That's
giving
you
their
spend
100%.
time, all your time.
Exactly. Not giving your 100%, just collecting your paycheck, going home, not putting in the effort.
Juwan James probably is in 1985 right now.
Probably is.
We have no idea. He's somewhere.
How dare you?
I know. How you tell me you want me to go back to 2020? I'm in 1985. How dare you bring me back?
Yeah, agreed.
Agreed. It was all Locke's fault. Agreed.
Yep, it's all Vic Fangio. Agreed. It's all Vic Fangio. Agreed. Mark Schlereth.
Agreed.
Mark Schlereth. I'm going to criticize Elway. Oh, no, got to cut off my balls. Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed.
First.
Yeah.
Agreed.
God.
Yeah, Schlereth is just defending Gordon left and right. His buddy Elway. Oh yeah.
I remember the old Mark Schlereth.
Yeah, the one that
he's become such a nutcase. I can't listen to him anymore.
Yeah, back before his wife cut his balls off, he was just reaming on John Elway. But then his wife said, "No, that's not nice." Okay, yes, it was not nice.
For him to apologize,
it may be Drew Lock who saves Elway of all things. See, Elway can say, "See, I was right the whole time." That's why I brought Bortles in.
See, and I sent you a link to what I saw earlier. Oh, the coaches were ecstatic from his progress in the quarterback room.
What did he do?
That is so PR crap.
Oh yeah. What did he do?
Yeah, what did he do? What, hold Drew Lock's jockstrap at practice?
Yeah.
Like, come on. God, Blake Bortles, out of all the veteran quarterbacks, Blake Bortles is going to be your quarterback controversy going into 2021. Wow. Good job, John Elway. Nice job on that one, buddy.
That way we can throw two quarterbacks under the bus and go draft the next victim.
Trevor Lawrence. But that ain't going to happen.
We've got a graveyard back here. We got quarterbacks buried back here.
Yeah, the likes of Peyton Manning. They buried Peyton Manning.
Oh, sure.
They buried him his last year in Denver.
They got a Jason mask. And they're out like a serial killer looking for another victim to bury back there.
And John Elway buried himself. He buried himself. He buried the player John Elway because his stupid ego.
His GM.
Yep.
That's true. I guess he did bury himself.
He did. He buried himself.
Yeah, because we got this whole GM thing around our neck now.
Oh, God. I want Brian Peters back.
No, won't happen.
It won't, because Pat Bowlen isn't the owner.
No. All right. Well, we'll come back. I'm just thinking maybe I'll break down some tape of wide open New England receivers.
Yep.
And say we better hope that we don't see this during the and we'll bring that up first.
Yep.
As we always do.
Yep.
All right.
We'll
see you later, alligator.
Yep. See you later. Bye.
Bye.